Alright, run it.
Alright, so here is my frequently asked questions on my life in Korea. So I have about 8 questions, maybe 7? Okay, so I'll just go ahead and get started. The first question is study abroad in Korea worth it? I don't know how to answer this question, but I will just answer from personal experience. Yes, it is totally worth it. I think there's a lot of things that factor into your experience being worth it or not. Like, you know, did you meet your goals? Like, did you get what you wanted out of it when you were thinking about going before actually arriving in Korea? There's like, did you learn enough things? Did you like spend too much money, or did you not spend enough money? Were you able to do the things you wanted to do while you were there? For me, yes, I think it was totally worth it. I would definitely do it again if I had the chance to like start over. I would definitely go again. And I honestly would have even considered being there for the entire year. So for me, because I'm a senior, I wanted to graduate on time. That is, go to my graduation ceremony in summer 2015, spring 2015, depending on how you look at it. It's like June. So because I wanted to go to that, I couldn't go for the entire year. And if I had a chance to start over in my college experience, I think I would have really considered going abroad my entire 3rd year, which is something that I wouldn't have thought would have made me happy, because I thought being in Korea for 1 semester is even too long. I thought just going abroad or going away for a semester was too long, but I had a great time, and I'm sure that you guys have seen like some of my vlogs before, so you know that I was having a lot of fun while I was there. So I think that I would, yeah, reconsider and maybe have even gone there for a year. So yes, it was totally, definitely, absolutely worth it for me. And then number 2. Did I live on campus or in an apartment, and why? So I decided to live on campus, and that's mostly because of convenience. It's not a money thing, because obviously it costs more money to live on campus than off campus. I wanted to live on campus because I wanted to utilize my time better and like get to know the people that were living in the dorm, and I just thought I would have more opportunities if I was living on campus versus off. Now that being said, I did actually get rejected the first time I applied for on-campus housing because it's really competitive. So for my particular program, which is the UC EAP program, it's all UC students. So like every UC, Berkeley, Merced, Riverside, San Diego, Irvine, whatever, right? And we all go to Yonsei, and we all have to take like this language class, and we all have like these minimum requirements that we have to do. And even just our program alone had like 100 students, and then there were plus 800 more, I think, that came from all over the world. So they come from Japan and Thailand and China and Hong Kong, and they are also from Europe even. They're from Australia, like Jenny, and Canada, and there's just a ton of people from all over the world that want to live in this housing space, so it's very limited. And like I said, I was rejected the first time, but just by some miracle I was in after I got on the wait list. So if you are trying to find housing and you aren't able to get it, don't be too worried, because there is a possibility that you'll be taken off the wait list. But at the same time, I would really consider going and looking into other options, like living off campus, living in an apartment, living in hasikchips, living, I don't know, there's like a lot of different opportunities for you to find housing off campus. So I did have a lot of friends that were actually living off campus as well, and that's just because I couldn't get the on-campus housing. So it is really competitive, but I was fortunate enough to be on campus. Okay, number 3, would I consider moving or coming back to Korea for the long term? For the long term, to me, means like for the rest of my life, so no, not really. I'm not really considering that at all. But I would actually consider living there for short term, as in like maybe a couple years, or like a year or less than a year. I really enjoyed my time there, and part of the reason why I wanted to go to Korea is to see if I was comfortable enough to live in Asia, because I was born in Japan, but I moved when I was really young, so I don't remember my time there as much, and I know that the culture is very different being in America versus being in Asia. So I thought that if I went to Korea for a couple months, I'd be able to figure out if, you know, in my future I wanted to live in Japan or live in Korea, like figure out if I would be comfortable enough to be in that culture or be in that society, which is very different from being here. That being said, I feel like I did learn a lot and I was pretty comfortable there. So I thought that, yeah, I could definitely go back, and which was really interesting to me, because going into my experience, like going into study abroad, I was totally thinking, I'm not gonna like it, I'm totally gonna hate it, like I just want to go back to San Diego, I want to go back to see my friends and my family. But when I was actually there, that all changed, and I felt like, oh, this is something I could totally do. Like, there's a huge time difference. It was 14 hours, I think, or 17 hours. And I couldn't talk to my boyfriend, couldn't talk to my family, couldn't talk to like my friends back home, but I think it was good, and I feel like I learned a lot as a person, and I grew a lot as an individual, and that's something that wouldn't have happened if I didn't go abroad. So yes, I would consider moving back to Korea or going back to Korea just to tour around or just to like live there for a couple months or like very short couple years, but long term, no. I don't think I see myself being there and having a family and raising kids or anything like that. Okay, and then 4 is, how did I make new friends besides classmates or study abroad friends? So I'm guessing that this question means like, was I able to meet the native students there? Which is kind of like a hard question to answer because a lot of the native friends that I made there were actually my classmates. It's just I was taking classes in English that were geared towards both Yonsei students and study abroad students, so that's how I met some other people. And then other new friends, I actually didn't make too many because, I don't know, I guess it was just too far out of my comfort zone. But a lot of the friends that I made while I was in Korea are actually of Korean background. So Stephanie was Korean American, Yuri was Korean Japanese, and Jenny was Korean Australian. So I had a lot of opportunities to talk to them about things that maybe like just native Koreans wouldn't be able to understand because they've been living there their whole lives or something like that. So I don't think that I had, you know, like a lack of friends or anything like that. I had enough, so I had support from people, and I think that was enough for me. But if you are looking towards making like more native friends, as in making more Korean friends, I think the advice that I will give you is to, like, I don't know, sign up for things like language exchange, sign up for student clubs, maybe live off campus even, because those are the things that will introduce you to more people, and you'll be able to make more friends because you'll have more opportunities to meet new people. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. Why did I choose Korea? This is a really good question actually. So if you didn't know, I'm Japanese. I'm not Korean at all. I don't have any Korean blood in me. But I wanted to go to Japan first when I was choosing about or picking studying abroad. I knew that I wanted to go to Asia for sure. Like, that wasn't a question. And I was choosing between Japan and Korea. Japanese I'm pretty fluent in, and I thought that maybe if I go it's kind of like a waste of time, or like a waste of, I don't know, having this opportunity to go somewhere new. And also I couldn't go to Japan because I have 2 passports. I have a Japanese citizenship and an American citizenship, and it was like too complicated going there with both, I guess. I don't really know, but the study abroad office kind of discouraged that, I guess, so I just didn't want to deal with it, and I chose to go to Korea instead. And I have also been studying Korean, so that's also another reason why I chose to go, and I wanted to try something new. So I wanted to go somewhere where, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable as much as being in Japan or something like that, and I was always choosing Asia, basically, like I said, so I wasn't interested in going to South America or going to Europe or anything like that. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much why I chose Korea. Also, my boyfriend's Korean. I don't think that he had a huge, how do I say this? I don't think he was a huge factor in my choosing process because I started learning Korean before I met him even. So it's not like I met him and then I started learning Korean and then I went to Korea. It was, I was learning Korean and then I met my boyfriend and then we started dating and then I left to Korea. And I think he did probably play a part in me choosing Korea, but it wasn't like a huge factor or anything like that, but just wanted to let you know. Yeah, and then next question, advice for those that want to go to Korea. Oh, advice, okay. I think, what's good advice? I think it's really important to go in with an open mind and go in with this mindset that things may be really different from what you're used to. But that's not advice about specifically going to Korea, that's just advice about going anywhere or like going to study abroad or going to travel or anything like that. It's just to make sure that you're open-minded because you might think that you're really tolerant of things, but being tolerant and being appreciative of something are two really different things that you might not realize until you're actually placed in that situation. So for me, I really thought like, okay, like I've been to Korea before. I was only there for like a week, and as a tourist, but I've been to Korea before. I kind of know what the culture's like because I'm from Japan. Like I've been studying the language, so I feel like I won't have that much of a problem in like communication. So that was a mindset I kind of went in. I kind of like went to Korea with, but while I was there I realized, oh yeah, there are a ton of things that are really different. So for me, like coming from Japan, or like, you know, being more familiar with Japanese, I was like, oh okay, people are kind of rude in Korea, but it's not that they're rude, it's just that it's different. Like Japanese people are too polite, and I really felt that when I went back to Japan after being in Korea for a couple months. Like Japanese people are really, really polite, and it's not that Korean people are rude, it's just that Japanese people are too polite. So like if you compare it, anybody's gonna seem rude. And at first I was just like, oh, this is so weird to me because it's very different. But then after a while I kind of saw it like, oh, this is different, but it's a good thing. Like it's different. It's good because it's different. And when I went to Japan, I felt like, oh my god, they're so polite. Like I took that as a negative thing, and I never thought I'd be like that. So I think it's just being flexible, being open to change. I think those are really important things to go into your experience. Like just have those things in mind when you're going into something new. Yeah. And then my last question is, were there any culture shocks about Korea? Culture shocks. Let's see. One of the biggest culture shocks actually for me is that there's a lot of trash on the road in Korea, and I didn't want to say this towards the beginning when I was like filming my vlogs and stuff, because I thought that it might be seen as like me just trash talking Korea, but it's nothing like that. It's just like being from San Diego and seeing the streets, and then going to Japan, seeing the streets. It's really clean. It's not like there's just trash everywhere, but in Korea for some reason there's no trash cans anywhere. And then even if there are trash cans, they're like all overflowing. There's trash everywhere, and there are just these piles of trash on the streets that these ajasis have to come and pick up with carts. And that's just something new that I have never seen before, and I was blown away. It was just really different to me. And yeah, so like I said, I wanted to talk about that in one of my vlogs, but I just thought that might be so negatively seen. But it's nothing like that. It's just, that's just how it is. And then I went to Tokyo when I was in Japan, and there's a lot of tourists there, kind of like Seoul. So I heard these girls saying like, oh my god, there's no trash cans anywhere on the streets, but the streets are so clean. And I was thinking, yeah, that it is really clean, but that's what I've kind of like grown up being used to. So I think that's part of the reason why I was so surprised about being in Korea. And then another culture shock is that all the food is super spicy. And I really honestly felt that I was pretty good at handling spicy things. Like, I don't know, shinramen, I can eat that, that's no problem. Usually if there's like pasta, I always put Tabasco on it. Like I like spicy food generally. But when I went to Korea, I couldn't eat anything, and I was just like, this is crazy, because I really thought that I was pretty strongly able to handle spicy food. But their spicy food is like no joke. It's like 완전 장난 아니야. So yeah, I think that if you think that you're good at handling spicy food, and you actually are, or like you're Korean or you're Thai, or like you're used to those things, then you'll be fine, no problem. But for me, I really went in thinking, yeah, I'll be fine, and then I came out like, oh my god, I'm so lame, like I can't do anything, like I can't eat spicy food. It was crazy. So yeah, that was also another culture shock. But anything else? I don't really think so, but I think that's also because I've been used to Japanese culture, which is very similar to Korean culture. So for someone that hasn't experienced like Asian culture, I think there might be a lot of things where you are just like completely shocked about, like, wow, this is so different. But for me, it wasn't that bad. It was just a trash thing, honestly. That trash like blew me away. It was so weird. But I don't know, I guess that's just how it is. So yeah. And that's about it for my life in Korea questions. If you have any more questions, please let me know down below, and I'll be sure to answer them in another video. So I have one more video to go, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you! Bye! Hey everyone! So today I thought I would do my frequently asked questions, which I've been getting a lot of questions about, which is really good. I'm glad that I will be able to help you out, hopefully. So this is going to be my frequently asked questions about my study abroad experience in Seoul, South Korea. Yeah, so I've been home for about a month now, and if you want to find out more about what I've been up to, just check in the description box below. And I have my January updates, which is basically everything that I have been up to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with my frequently asked questions.